Kristen Redmond, and today we're going to go over the planetary aspects surrounding us and affecting us for this upcoming week of June 11th through the 17th. And this week, I tell you what, starting it off, it is just so interesting to think that we are halfway through this year already. Halfway point, and we're leading up to that summer solstice that happens next week, which really deals with that energy as well, that halfway point of looking where we've come thus far in the year and reassessing and replanning for where we need to go moving forward. Now, in the world of astrology, Mercury represents the mind. It represents how we think and that whole mental process and how we learn and how we share and communicate those ideas and how we teach those to others, right? Whoa, super loud. Don't you hate that on your TV when all of a sudden the commercial comes on and it's like crazy loud? Like, I hear you, commercial. Anyway, so we got that muted. Anyway, so Mercury represents the mindset. And here we are as the sun tours through the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. We are really going through our whole mental process and kind of looking to where our thoughts create our reality in our lives. And that really becomes apparent in this week as we go into the Gemini new moon, really bringing focus into that. But it's a big week for Mercury, not only because it's a reset button in terms of how we mentally process things, how we communicate things, how we learn things, how we think things, and those stories that we repeat to ourselves. There's a repeat, or there's a reset button that we can hit on that in this new moon this week. But before that, let's look to what Mercury is going to be doing in the sky as well this week, because it makes a shift. It also makes a shift this week, and that happens on Tuesday the 12th, when Mercury moves into the sign of Cancer. Now, while Mercury's been in Gemini, that's its home sign. That's when it's operating at its absolute height. And that's why this week the new moon is going to be extraordinarily powerful. Which happens on the 13th, which happens on Wednesday. But leading up to that, we have Mercury switching into a new sign of Cancer this week as well. So what it does is it shifts from that mindset of really thinking and learning and communicating and sharing those ideas to going within and looking to the emotions a little bit more. So thinking with what our heart is telling us and our emotions are telling us to do, and where it's intuitively guiding us to go. Where Gemini and Mercury, when it's in that sign, it's more focused on let me mentally think logically about what's going on. When Mercury transits the sign of Cancer for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be focused on more what is my intuition telling me. Not the logical mind, but what my intuition is really guiding me towards. It's also a time frame when our mindsets are focused more so on the family and the home and looking back to our childhood and our upbringing, because Cancer represents all of those things. Now, this is a year where 2018 heals a lot of old outstanding wounds, especially wounds that deal with childhood. So don't be surprised over the next few weeks if those ideas, things that you have long buried, things that you've forgotten, start to resurface. This is a year it wants to be healed, so it's not going to necessarily be shoved down and pushed down as easily as it has been over the years. This is a year where there's major shift and growth and change in terms of that. So let's take heed into that as Mercury transits the sign of Cancer and Cancer. I'm making up all sorts of words here. As it tours that sign, it's going to pull those things out, and let's just pay attention to them. Let's not shove them back. Let's listen softly to it, because the major shifts and changes aren't going to happen in that 3-week time frame. They're going to happen throughout the remainder of 2018, where you can really heal those old wounds, heal those old traumas, right? But this is a time frame where they come to the surface if you've really especially repressed them and buried them. So Mercury and Cancer, that's a great thing. Now, before we get into the new moon cycle, I'm going to kind of cover these new planetary changes into the signs, and then we'll really hit that new moon and focus on how the communication and the mental process is going to be reset here in a minute. But so this Mercury and Cancer, right? Mindset on the family, mindset on the home, mindset on emotion, following what our intuition is telling us as opposed to our logic. That's what the next 3 weeks brings. But it squares up. It's interesting. It's almost like it has an opposition immediately. Is Mercury opposes Saturn, which it only does once in the year. It's going to be happening on Friday. Now, Saturn likes to hold back and restrict things and make you work extremely hard for whatever it is. Now, here the mindset is going backwards, and it's looking into the past. It's looking into childhood. It's looking into the family, into the home, the things that really pull at our heartstrings. That's what Cancer does. That's where Mercury is going to be. But as it squares up against, or as it opposes, so this is like squaring off big time, big old opposition going on with Saturn on Friday that will carry throughout the weekend. It's almost like something's going to be holding you back, making you a little bit depressed because of that, because that's what Saturn is. It's such a somber, stoic planet, and whatever it touches, it makes us face reality. Okay, so there may be that push and pull of, oh my gosh, this did actually happen when I was a kid, or oh my gosh, I'm finally putting two and two together that maybe I wasn't nurtured as much, or I didn't receive that emotional support, or maybe a parent really did make you deal with more than he needed to, and these are things that you've long repressed. Those thoughts bubble up right as Mercury transits through that Cancer, and as Saturn opposes that, it's like, hello, reality in the face, this did happen. And as a result, somber Saturn brings down that Mercury, that mindset, and it can bring in a little bit of depression as a result. Okay, so just watch out for that over the weekend. If that's the case, that's just Saturn working its situation on you. Of course, this is going to affect our Gemini friends the most, and our Virgo friends, because you're ruled by Mercury, and of course our Capricorn friends as well, because Saturn rules Capricorn. So if you have your sun, moon, or ascendant in those signs in your birth chart, a little bit of a week for depression. I'll just tell you, the mind's kind of slowing down and looking at things a little bit stronger in terms of the past, family, and home, more so than any of the other signs. So, next big shift we have planetarily is going to be Venus, the planet of love and money, moving into the sign of Leo. And I am a Leo, so I'm a little bit biased on the Leo sign, and I always focus on the positive side as opposed to the negative side of Leo. But this happens on Wednesday the 13th as well. This is the same day as this powerful reset button of the mind, new moon, that happens. Okay, so we look at this as Venus moves into the sign of Leo. Yes.
I was watching YouTube.
Okay.
But he's not supposed to.
I understand that. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'll be out in just a minute, okay? You go out there. I'm going to finish my video now, okay? No more stealing of the Lucky Charms either, okay? Please. Thank you. We all know how that goes, don't we, with the Lucky Charms, where we as parents tell the children, you have to eat all the cereal, not just the marshmallows, right? And then they eat all the marshmallows, and then there's all these little bits and pieces of Lucky Charms that are on the floor that you step on, right? We got a major offender on the floor over here who does that. Back to Venus and Leo, huh? Alright, so is Venus, that planet of love and money, goes through that sun-driven sign of Leo. Leo is focused on the self. And, I mean, it's concerned very much with protecting those around it. Remember, it's Leo the lion, so it's very proud of its family, and it likes to protect and take care of the family. But Leo is ruled by the sun. And in astrology, the sun is focused on you. It's focused on the individual. It's focused on your needs. So as Venus, the planet of love and money, tours through that, you're going to really be looking over the next few weeks as well is to how your needs are being met in terms of your relationships, in terms of love, and in terms of friendships. All right, where are you being taken care of in that situation, and where do things need to be adjusted? But this also goes into finances as well. Am I doing what makes me happy? Because that's what Leo is. It's that sunny, happy sign that's focused on, first and foremost, what brings joy and happiness to you. How you make your money, is it making you happy? Okay? And if it isn't, over the next few weeks, it'll bring a little bit of insight onto what exactly needs to be happened. So we down here on planet Earth, we have these shifts that happen in these windows of time that become more apparent to us, where we can feel these energies stronger. And if you are feeling something, if there are situations that pop up in that few weeks in terms of your career and your job and how you make your money and how it affects your inner happiness, pay attention to it. Pay attention to it, because it's definitely the universe and your guides working with you to communicate messages as to what shifts need to happen. Now, good old Venus and Leo, the first big impact that's going to happen with that energy is going to happen this week, squaring up against Uranus, and that's going to be on the 14th. Now, remember, everything I said here, this is focused on what makes you happy in terms of relationship and money, right? Overall harmony and happiness that's going on in your life is going to come to focus as well, but it's really focused on your needs. Major thing about Venus and Leo. Now it's going to be squaring up against Uranus on the 14th, and when that happens, brings unexpected things, right? Very, very surprising events that may occur in terms of both of those things. So you want to see some changes. Maybe this is the week that as it shifts into that sign, you're focused on what you need to be happy. And then Uranus is really going to come around and make sure it's apparent. And it may bring about an unexpected argument, unexpected event. You never know with Uranus. It does the most crazy things. But what it does is it kind of jolts us and it shocks us and it awakens us to what's really going on around us. So this is going to be a week where that happiness really comes to the forefront. Those are those two big things. But let's move on to this Gemini new moon, huh? My. What an awesome time of year to really focus on how our logic works, how our minds really work, and what stories we tell ourselves over and over and over again, and how they're either benefiting us or they're really working against us. This is a year, and I say this in almost every video, but I really want to stress that fact if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, that 2018, numerology-wise, is an 11-year, a year for manifesting. Our powers of manifestation are at their absolute height. Now, when I say manifesting, it means what you think here, you create outward in the reality around you. So if you're thinking good, positive thoughts, this is going to be the year of change. This is going to be the year I start having financial freedom. This is going to be the year I find love, find health, find happiness. If you are telling yourself that story over and over again, I guarantee you that the universe is going to respond accordingly, because it's at a very high vibration this year to make things real. And that's because of Taurus moving into Uranus. Check that one out on Google if you want to get some really awesome information on how big transformations are happening in terms of stability and making sure these new things really have a good root to them and that we're finally on solid ground. That's a big thing. Google that one. Transit Uranus and Taurus. But I also have videos on here as well if you want to check those out too. But this is a year where those things can become a tangible reality. But if you're telling yourself a story that things are never going to go right, I'm never going to find love, I'm never going to find health, I'm never going to find happiness, remember this is a year where those thoughts of manifesting are magnified. So that's exactly what's going to come into focus. Now, this week, you want to change that? You want to change that negative mindset? We have the Gemini new moon that's happening on Wednesday. Right? And it's really going to give you that opportunity to hit that reset button and say, you know what? Yeah, my negative mindset, my feeling of lack, my constant fear, I see how it is outwardly affecting and impacting my life. I want to change that. This Gemini new moon is a perfect opportunity to do so. Write it down, okay? Because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, that planet of communication. Perfect way to do this is to write. This is how my mind works. These are the stories that I tell myself, and this is how I want to change it. Do that in this dark sky that happens in a new moon, because new moons represent where new beginnings happen. You want to have new beginnings in how your mindset works and the stories that you tell yourself and where you want to change them. The most powerful new moon of the year to do that, to set intentions for change. For that. Do you want to communicate differently? Okay. Do you realize that this is a time frame when you say, I don't really like how I am always angry and how that comes out in my conversations? Are you scared to communicate your needs, especially in relationships, right? Because we've got Venus moving into Leo and that's coming into focus. How ironic that same day it all happens and it squares up with Uranus, bringing that energy through of this doesn't make me happy. Are you scared to stand up for yourself? Leo is the lion, and it's very confident. So those things are going to come to the surface a little bit more so. This is going to be a time in this new moon where you go, I realize that these are things where I have confidence issues and I can't stand up for myself. New moon to hit the repeat button on that. Yes, Jack. You're being very disruptive in this video today. What do you need here? No, we're not buying that. Nope, nope, nope. Let's be nice, and let's be patient, and let's be kind.
Well, the other one.
I'm very sorry, everybody. My 6-year-old Jack here is currently obsessed with all things Kindle, right? And wants to buy a new app every day, and we're not doing it. No Lucky Charms, no apps. Worst day ever. Okay, I'm going to do my video. You can stay here if you want or not. Okay, but I'm not buying you a game. So the stories we keep telling ourselves, right? This is a time to really redo it. Gemini and Mercury are all about self-expression. It's about speaking your truth and finding that truth. So you will find in this time frame that the truth becomes a little bit even more so evident. Remember, we talked about Mercury moving into that sign of Cancer, bringing the childhood memories, bringing all of those things to the surface. We're almost faced with the truth this week under the power of this new moon. Another thing, too, on another side of it is that Gemini is all about learning and the knowledge that we have. Now, this may be a time frame when you go, hey, my job doesn't make me happy, thanks to Venus and Leo going through there. Maybe that's the case and you recognize and realize that you need to take more classes, more courses, a seminar for work, something to improve your situation. This is going to be a time frame under this new moon that those ideas become very strong, or the opportunity presents itself even more so. But it's about learning and learning from the past, right? We all have this amazing ability to access our past lives and the karma that we've created throughout each lifetime, and what we're here to balance, what we're here to fix, and what we're here to get right this lifetime. We can access that record of our lives. That's called the Akashic record. Honestly, we can access that anytime we really want. But it's very difficult for us to do so because our logical mind tells us that we can't. But we want to learn about ourselves. We want to learn why our soul is here. This is going to be a week under the power of this new moon that's all focused on learning and attaining knowledge, that we can go into that realm and we can find out what our soul is intended to do at this path, at this junction, on this path in our lives. And we can get a little bit more insight, a little bit stronger under this new moon. Write that down in your list of things that you want to change, those stories that you tell yourself over and over and over again, and how you want to bring something new and different to that. Write down, I feel that part of this repeat button I hit on my life over and over again is because of some debt that I owe from a previous lifetime. Is it about poverty? Is it about that you don't want to find love again? Is it about that you need to endlessly work and work and work to make up for when maybe in a past life you didn't work at all, and in this lifetime you're overly focused on doing so? This is a time to really know that you can assess that and see what lessons we've come here to learn and balance. And bring new beginnings to, right? Because that's what the power of a new moon does, is it brings us new beginnings. So that's basically everything that's going on up in here for this week, focusing on what the self needs. Luckily, no crazy, horrible aspects out there. Know that Uranus, of course, is going to be squaring up against something this week, so expect the unexpected. Especially in terms of relationships and money. So just keep an eye out for those things. But other than that, that's what we got going on this week. I am going to pull a stone from my windowsill because I like to put my stones there to cleanse and clear energy, especially after I do readings for others, because they really absorb the energies within us. And I feel extremely drawn to this beautiful fluorite. I've seen a lot of fluorite ones recently in this past week, and I feel that it's a sign from the angels, especially Archangel Metatron, the angel that clears all of our chakras. You feel like you got some gunk, you feel like you got some roadblocks in your system, he's going to be the angel that you call on. You just go, hey, Archangel Metatron, help me clear all this out. because I don't want to deal with it anymore. He also helps us to access those Akashic records and those realms from past lives as well. Metatron is known to have it's a geometric cube, Metatron's cube, and that's what he spins in front of every one of our chakra points to make sure that we are running at our ample optimal energy, spiritual energies, that is, of course, right? But they manifest in physical ailments if there's blocks. So call on him this week to help kind of get you around, detour you around those and clear it out of the way and make some good energy for new beginnings to come through. But with any kind of layered stone, as we have all of these, if you have an agate, tiger's eye, lots of stones out there that have lots of jaspers. There's lots of jaspers that are banded, but also fluorites as well. They help you to peel back the layers like an onion to get to the root of whatever the situation is, especially if we're looking back to past memories from childhood and really looking at what the accuracy is of it. We talked a lot about that last week, okay? There was a lot of energy about that week. That has carried into this week as well, because main thing of 2018 is we're trying to heal these things, okay? So as you peel that layer back, things are going to pop out. This is one that is a good stone that helps to soothe that energy in the heart center, the pain that's involved with peeling those layers back. But this is also one that is a great stone to have around, fluorite, that is, of course, in case something traumatic comes up. Something comes up unexpectedly, and we know Uranus is out there bringing some unexpected energies this week. Just know that Archangel Metatron is around with that cube of his and with fluorite to help keep you protected in case there's anything really, really unexpected that does involve this week. And because Mercury is so strong this week, know that your logic will be strong in that time frame as well. But that's who's around. Let's see what his message is. That sounded a bit doomy gloomy. I'm not saying something terrible is going to happen to you. I'm not saying that at all. You know, for some, yes. But for others, it may just be a mental clarity awakening that happens. But regardless, you still need that energy around with Metatron to keep you in line and running on all cylinders. So let's see. That card like jumped out. Pretty sure that's him. OMG, we got some relationship stuff up in here this week. I tell you what, relationship issues are going to be coming to the forefront. Yes, and I know so because Venus is moving into Leo, really focused on what you need. The card, the Lovers, that appeared here is all about those close relationships, intimate relationships, and also business partnerships too, okay? But that deals with both sides of the coin when it comes to Venus, right? Love and money and how we do the both. But it's calling into what makes you happy. This card's upright, saying that you may feel a little selfish, but that's okay because there's a reason. It's trying to make sure that scales are balanced. So this is a card that indicates that. This is also a card that indicates things having to do with health as well. So if there's some stuff going on in terms of health, I know that's a pretty giant blanket statement that's going on within there, but remember, our thoughts create our reality. And when we're thinking negative here, these thoughts travel throughout our electrical systems that are within us, our spiritual highway that's in there of an electrical grid. These thoughts are like toxic energy and create roadblocks in there, okay? Those thoughts, remember, they manifest and create a reality within us, and they manifest in physical form. So they can create elbow issues, stomach issues, back issues, all of these things. This is a card that represents that too. Archangel Raphael that comes in and clears and heals those things as well. So whatever things surface this week, if you find that there are physical ailments that appear, if you find that there are old memories that appear, know that the angels are bringing these things to the surface to help you realize that, helping you make a logical decision in how to change that, because that's what this new moon is about, is a new beginning. So it all ties together this week. And know that the angels are watching over you, especially Archangel Raphael, who heals, and Archangel Metatron, who removes those blocks in that freeway that is you. Okay? Get out your pen and paper. Write about it on Wednesday in the power of this new moon. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Bye.